Good afternoon, everyone. Jai Swaminarayan. It is indeed an honor and privilege to welcome Parampuja Gyanvatsal Swamiji as an international motivational speaker from Bochasan Vasi Sri Akshar Purushottam Sansthan Swaminarayan Sansthan. By his profound knowledge and insight on a wide spectrum of subject, Sadhu Gyanvatsal Swamiji have participated in various conferences and inspired the millions of people across the India, Europe, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. He has been one of the most popular motivational speaker from BAPS, creating an everlasting positive impact in people's life, transferring their intellectual, emotional, and spiritual quotient. He served as an interpreter with earlier BAPS spiritual head H.H. Pramukh Swami Maharaj in many of his religious world tours. He has been instrumental in carrying out many youth development and social culture projects of BAPS at Vadodara, Gujarat. He did B Mechanical from BVM Engineering College, Vallabhvidyanagar. He was initiated as a sadhu by His Holiness Pramukh Swami Maharaj, the fifth spiritual successor of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, and then BAP spiritual head during the inaugural festival of Swaminarayan Akshardham, Gandhinagar in 1992. He has interacted with more than 25,000 families across the 30 countries in different ethnic groups. He has delivered more than 15,000 talks and speech across the world. He has met and interacted with more than 3 million people and 5,000 leaders from various society and professional backgrounds. Swamiji, today's our FDP motto is to plan and help in imparting the quality technical education in the country and support the technical institutions in fostering the research, innovation, and entrepreneurship through the training in various emerging areas. In this FDP, our AICT is also state that it is a compulsory session on mental, emotional development, stress management, meditation, human value, ethics to promote the Fit India movement. Swamiji, we know that you are a great spiritual leader and work as a social reformer at a BAPS. Your work for BAPS had improved the society by promoting to growth of people. Today's era is demanding the salvage from pandemic COVID-19 to each and every individual for carrying their routine activities and professional too. Your motivational preach will ensure the faculty member of various institutes of India to satisfy their quality of life without stress. Jai Swaminarayan.
जय स्वामीनारायण. श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवान की जय. अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज की जय. राधा कृष्ण देव की जय. सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज की जय. महंत स्वामी महाराज की जय. प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज शताब्दी महोत्सव की जय. with prostrations at the divine feet of Bhagwan Swaminarayan and my Guru Hari, Param Pujya Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and Pragat Guru Hari, Param Pujya Mahan Swami Maharaj, my heartiest namaskar, good evening, and Jai Swaminarayan. In this very special FTP, that is the Faculty Development Program on Trends of Sustainable and Green Energy Technology in India, organized by the Mechanical Engineering Department of the A.D. Patel Institute of Technology and sponsored by AICTE Training and Learning, that is Atal Academy. The Chief Patrons, Engineer Shri Bhikhubai Patel, who is Chairman of the Charotar Vidya Mandal, patrons, co-patrons, especially the Joint Secretary, Honorary, and my very good friend Mehul Patel, and of course all the professors, the eminent speakers, the organizing team, and all the viewers today of this webinar, my heartiest namaskar. Well, the topic shared with me today on this prestigious platform is stress management in daily life. We all experience and have gone through some kinds of tension or stress or depression in some or the other way at some stage in life. Because stress is inevitable as taxes and death. As tax and death is inevitable, stress is also inevitable. Because we have a brain where we think, we have a heart where we have emotions, we have the human body where we have expressions. And when this thinking, when this emotions, and when this expressions are halted, are rejected, or don't go the way you want, it immediately gives birth to tension, stress, and prolonged tension, prolonged stress can definitely put you or push you into depression. So this is experienced by one and all. And we have all gone through phases of it, the cycles of it. And it comes time and again as the wheel of the cycle. The upper part gradually comes underneath. And the underneath part gradually comes to the top. In the same way, in this cycle of life, happiness and stress, happiness and stress, happiness and stress, they keep on coming, keep on going. It's a cycle that every human being definitely experiences. So don't get scared by it. Don't feel that I'm the only person upon this earth that I'm experiencing it. And never ever feel that this is going to live with me for a lifetime. The answer to all three is that everybody passes through it. Second is you are not the only person that is experiencing it at the present, at the moment. And third, it is not going to remain with you lifetime. This too shall pass. That is what we learn right from early childhood. But to handle it well should be a human endeavor. To handle it well is a human skill. In all ways, from thinking to emotions and expressions, everything. But first of all, what are the best thought processes and emotional experiences, emotional expressions that we need to take care of so that we don't slip into the state of stress and ultimately into the state of depression? The first important aspect is that you must always try, always have the attitude, always keep in mind to have an ethical way of living. The moment you put aside ethics in life for some petty gains sometimes for unwanted attractions in life, sometimes just out of curiosity, sometimes because of some bonding which is the least expected in your life. But in some or the other way, when you put aside ethical practices, which normally at some stage in life people tend to, as I said, because of some petty gains, monetary gains, relationship gains, prestige or power gains, fame gains, and because of this, they lend themselves into a whole lot of problems. They put their career at risk. They put their family happiness at risk. They put their professional growth at risk. And ultimately, they themselves put their lives at risk when you go for unethical practices. As we have learned from early childhood, that you can't play with fire. You can't play with water. In the same way, you can't play with ethics, norms, and disciplines in life. 1 + 1 is equal to 2. Never try to manipulate it. The moment you try to manipulate it, maybe on a couple of occasions you may get through, escape out. But third time, fourth time, fifth time, probably you might get caught. And then you will land yourself into problems. See, remember one thing. Everybody upon this earth is intelligent. Okay? Because these are the times of information. These are the times of information highway, that is internet. These are the times of information processing, that is knowledge. Everybody has an access to it. Everybody is exposed to it. Everybody has it in their lives. So now nobody can cheat anybody. If you try to act extra smart, you will be caught. If you try, and if you feel, and if you keep an attitude, I can manipulate something and still try to look smart, the times are over. These are not those times. So never ever go for unethical practices. You will land yourself into a hell of problems. As I said, for power, for money, for relationships, for fame, anything. Many a times when I talk on this, I give the example of Rajat Gupta, widely reported in the newspapers. Rajat Gupta, IIT Kharagpur graduate, a Harvard graduate, and he was the face of corporate India in the Western world. He was a director with Goldman, he was a director with McKinsey, and a person who had earned everything that a person ever would dream in the Western world. I'm talking of things a couple of decades back. What happened one fine day is that one of the world's richest investors, Warren Buffett, he offered his personal $5 billion as investments in Goldman. Now, this was a very lucrative offer and a prestigious one as well, because association of Warren Buffett on a personal note with Goldman was a credit for Goldman. So the board of directors, they met at a meeting in Moscow in Russia to decide upon the further course of action. In the meeting, it was finally decided that we must accept Warren Buffett's personal $5 billion as a credit. Now it is said, according to the newspaper reports, that coming out of the meeting, Rajat Gupta just made a 5-second phone call to his friend, Mr. Rajaratnam in America. He was a Sri Lankan and they were partners in an investment firm. And that 5-second phone call was like he told his partner Rajaratnam, start picking up Goldman as much as you can. That means start buying the shares, the stocks of Goldman Sachs. Because Rajat Gupta knew that when tomorrow morning the announcements will be made that Warren Buffett has invested his $5 million personal into Goldman, the prices of shares, stocks of Goldman will start rising. And if they purchase a good amount today, they can sell when it is at the peak and make some good money. The same thing happened. This guy Rajaratnam started picking up, and according to newspaper reports, he might have picked up $2 to $3 million of Goldman shares for the market at Wall Street in New York. Next day, the announcements were made. Goldman started rising, and by mid-afternoon, we found that this is a peak. They started selling it. By evening time, they sold out all the stocks and made a good $2 to $3 million. I'm talking of things maybe like about more than 10 years back. More than 10 years back, in 24 hours, one deal on Wall Street, and you made $2 to $3 million. It's a big deal. In today's terms, as if it's $3 million, it is like 22 to 23 crore rupees. Imagine 22 crore rupees in one 5-second phone call. But somebody by the name Mr. Preet Bharara, a government attorney in Manhattan, he started tracking back. He started thinking, how can somebody go mad on Wall Street behind Goldman the previous day? The next morning, the announcements are made, and then they sell it and make a big buck. That means this guys must have some inside information. And you know, insider trading is a big crime. Insider trading means that if you have some critical information sitting in the board meetings of a company or at some high profile interaction, and you get that critical information which can further the course of action in the share markets or speed up something. And if you use that critical information as an insider for monetary gains, it's a big crime, which is called insider trading. Charges were leveled against Rajat Gupta and Rajaratnam in the courts and public prosecution. And finally, the day of judgment, Rajaratnam was sentenced to 13 years in jail, probably still in jail. And when it was the time for Rajat Gupta, now this was the guy who was the face of corporate India in the Western world. He was like so much influential and connected with people and organizations and corporations. You'd be surprised to know that more than 200 letters came in from various countries and various corporation heads and various trust and board heads asking the US courts and the judges to pardon Rajat Gupta to the maximum, because they would suggest that Rajat Gupta is involved in so many of social services across countries and continents. But still, on the day of judgment, on a packed courtroom, packed press gallery, Rajat Gupta was standing there at the bar, and the US judge pronounced his conviction that you are convicted of these charges, you're convicted of this crime. Have you anything to say? He said no. Sentencing was a few days later. First comes the conviction and then the sentencing. A few days later, again packed courtroom, packed press gallery, Rajat Gupta was produced in the court, and the US court pronounced that you are sent to 2 years in jail. Imagine such a high-profile person, corporate face of India in the Western world, very well connected. I think he's also the director with the ISP in Hyderabad School of Business. 2 years in jail. Rajat Gupta had nothing but tears in his eyes. And with his head down, he could say only one sentence. which is a red line, a danger line for all professionals of all categories in all fields. I'm putting him not just word to word, but letter to letter. Rajat Gupta said, my 40 years of corporate image building has gone down a drain in a 5-second mistake. Again, I repeat what he said. My 40 years of corporate image building has gone down in drain in a 5-second mistake. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. He spent 2 years in prison. Imagine the amount of stress. Today we are talking on this topic, stress management. Wherein initially I'm talking on ethical behavior so as not to allow stress to enter your life. No unethical practices. Imagine the amount of stress this person might have gone through while 2 years behind bars. Imagine the amount of stress that his wife, his family members might have gone through meeting people in the society and people inquiring about him. Imagine the amount of stress that his family might have gone through from people who might have, for some reason, been at crossroads with Rajat Gupta and taunting his wife or his family members. Imagine the amount of stress that he might be going through even after coming out of jail. And even today, when I'm talking to you, a big black spot on his professional career and life, right on the center of his head, with which now he's supposed to live for a lifetime. Everything gone. All prestige gone. All credit gone. All powerful positions and posts gone. All this could not save him. All his powerful connections, the US and international, all could not save him. Neither his jail nor his credit. He has to live with this stress lifetime. So what I mean to say is, in order to escape from stress, but not allowing unnecessary stress, those kind of stresses are within your control. We will also talk of certain kind of stresses which are not in your control, which gets on your head and you get bogged down by it. But these are the certain kinds of stresses that if you take care of yourself well, if you have a pure professional conduct, you will escape from certain kinds of the stresses at your workplace. So first and the foremost point of stress management in daily life is absolute ethical behavior. Our Guru Parapuji Paramukh Swami Maharaj was the head of the BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha. And whatever the BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha today is worldwide. Pramukh Swami Maharaj was a one-man organization, Ek Vyakti Sanstha. Pramukh Swami Maharaj, you might have all heard his name and you might all have perhaps visited the Swaminarayan Akshardham in Gandhinagar or the Swaminarayan Akshardham in New Delhi. Pramukh Swami Maharaj single-handedly created 1,400 institutions for selfless social service. Single-handedly, one-man army, one-man organization. Pramukh Swami Maharaj, he erected and successfully on charity basis ran more than 1,400 hospitals, hostels, schools, colleges, sanskar dhams, mandirs, akshardhams. In a span of 45 years as the spiritual head of the organization, he's created 1,400 institutes. Your ADIT Institute is well situated in Vallabh Vidyanagar. I also been a student of Vallabh Vidyanagar many years back, 28, 30 years back. I studied at BVM. At that time, we didn't have the ADIT. I'm talking of, I was in the batch from 1987 to 1991, the mechanical engineering department. And today, I feel a sense of pride being associated with the mechanical engineering department of the ADIT. In Vallabh Vidyanagar also, on the Vidyanagar Anand main road, we have the Akshar Purushottam Chhatralaya, the BAPS APC. Such institutions, 1400 in 45 years. So every 15th day, these statistics are mind-boggling, beyond the ken of human intelligence. 1400 institutions in 45 years, that is every 15th day, Pramukh Swami Maharaj came up with an institute. That is every 15th day he purchased a land. The land got cleared in the local government bodies legally. The type of the project, hospital, hostel, school, college, whatever to be done, mandir, akshardham, sanskardham, whatever, decided upon, architect designs, tenders floated out, plans passed in the local government bodies, funds raised, a couple of people for full-time honorary services nominated, taking care of the project on the site, groundbreaking ceremony performed, construction work completed, inauguration ceremony held, and the institute submitted in the service of the society. Every 15th day for 45 years, Pramukh Swami Maharaj did. Unimaginable, mind-boggling statistics, as I said, beyond the ken of human intelligence. This was Pramukh Swami. लेकिन ये बात मैंने आपको क्यों कही? Why did I tell you this thing today? That उन्होंने अपने जीवन में हर काम जो किया, every work that he did, he remained wedded to ethical principles. So he never experienced stress in his life. Wedded to ethical principles. उन्होंने अपने जीवन में कभी कुछ गलत नहीं किया. Personal life, public life, social life, never. Once he was asked, which thought remains with you 24/7? He said that the thought that has never entered my mind. Shall I tell it first? And that was more interesting. And then he said the thought of hurting anybody physically, mentally, or emotionally has never entered my mind. Imagine. In his traditional Gujarati, he said, કોઈનું પણ અહિત થાય એવો વિચાર મારા જીવનમાં મને ક્યારેય નથી આવ્યો. What a lofty character. What a height of spirituality. What a greatness of humanity. What an ethical life. किसी का भी अहित हो ऐसा विचार मुझे जीवन में कभी नहीं आया. तो इस व्यक्ति को कभी स्ट्रेस भी नहीं आता है क्योंकि किसी का अहित हो ऐसा विचार ही नहीं आया कभी. Pramukh Swami Maharaj always lived his credo. In the good of others lies our own. In the progress of others rests our own. In the happiness of others lies our own. So when you live with this kind of a heart and emotion, you will never experience stress. See, in this living, you don't have to give anything to anybody. You are not giving any money to anybody. You are not like maybe some occasion that you've helped somebody. Otherwise, it's a routine life. But just keeping your senses and emotions and your thought process in your control, that you are not thinking ill of anybody, and you will never experience stress. Second aspect of stress management in life. See, we all experience stress because of the overburden of work. Now, let me talk very practical. You all experience stress because of a lot of burden of work at your workplace. Sometimes it is said, there's a saying that goes, that it is not the load that you are carrying that kills you. It is the way in which you carry your load that kills you. People work. The Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Bhai Modi, at the age of 70, works 14, 16 hours a day. And we always see him fresh, agile, active, connected, and at dispensation of work, in the midst of people, smiling, carrying himself well, focused, on time, carrying out one and the other work, placing before the country one and the other project time and again. At the age of 70, to work 14 to 16 hours a day, it's such a huge responsibility. And yet keeping yourself calm and cool and a smiling face requires a lot of balance of mind, requires unimaginable balance of emotions. And that too when you are constantly attacked day in and day out from almost all corners around you. So there are people around us who carry enormous load, yet they know how to carry the load. And so they don't kill themselves. That is, that they don't slip into stress, tension, and depression. For that, Bhagavan Sri Krishna has taught in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. He says, see how to work. We are talking at present about work-related stress, which we all experience at our workplaces. Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells Arjun, when in the midst of Kurukshetra, Arjun got stressed out. And he was like, how will I be able to do this task? And I had to kill my near and dear ones. He laid aside his arms. Krishna tells Arjun at that time, something that is what is described today as the ultimate knowledge. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. This is the ideal understanding and way of working that you can escape from stresses at workplace. Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. He tells Arjun, Arjun, your job is to perform your duty well. Results, I will decide. If we all take this teaching of Bhagavan Krishna to our heart, to our minds, and live and work accordingly, you will never experience stress at your workplace. You will be able to manage stress at your workplace, loads of work at your workplace, quite smartly, quite wisely. Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Your job is to perform your duty well. That means, see, we all are working in our respective fields. Some of you are professors, teachers, maybe some are students, maybe some of you are administrators. We as saints, we also work in managing the institutions erected by Pramukh Sai Maharaj and our present Guru Hari, Mahan Sai Maharaj. Routine day-to-day administration, routine day-to-day management, and connecting with people, association, like seminars, now webinars, conferences, and everything. So we all work 8-10 hours a day. Our job is to put our best resources available. Your academics, your talents, your know-hows, your experiences, your support systems, your platforms, anything that you have as a resource. Your job is to put all this resource adequately and wisely to perform your duty well. Then, at the end of the day, when you have performed your duty well to the best of your knowledge, keep calm. Because ma phaleshu kadachana, Bhagavan Krishna says, results, fruits, I will decide. So we all have this experience. You will say yes when I ask you 2 questions. So far, nobody has said me no. And you will all say yes when I ask you 2 questions. First question, we all have experienced that sometimes we have planned our project well, paperwork done well. We have started putting resources into it, executed it well, expected the best of results. Still, we did not get results as per our expectations, isn't it? You will say yes. Question 2, scenario 2. We all have experienced that sometimes we have got less time for planning. We have done less of paperwork. Some execution hiccups have come up. We were not satisfied with our performance, We were unable to put the best resources that were on hand with us into the project, and still we got the outcome beyond our expectation. Oh my God, such a big result, isn't it? You will say yes. But have you ever given a thought to this? That why sometimes after my best try, I got less, and sometimes with my less or least try, I got the best. Sometimes with the best try, I got less or least. Sometimes with lesser try or the least try, I got the best. Have you ever given a thought to this? We all have experienced this. This is what Bhagavan Krishna tells in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. That you keep working, perform your duty to the best of your resources. Results, at the end of the day, Krishna says, I will decide. Now, if this is a reality, this is a fact, then accept it. Keep yourself calm. We get stressed out. No, so I worked this, I planned out this. I must get this result. Okay, keep a goal and try to work and reach to that goal. But if by the end of the project, if you don't reach that goal, wherever you reach, feel yourself comfortable by accepting the final outcome. Stress comes in your life when you don't accept the final outcome. Am I right or wrong? Stress comes in your life when you don't accept, when you refuse to accept the reality that is the final outcome right in front of you on your table, right in front of your eyes. Oh my God, I never expected this result. Okay, you didn't expect it. But God decided this result for you, even after you worked hard. And sometimes, oh my God, this good result for me. Oh my God, I never expected this. This is the best that I could ever get. Even when I was least trying for it, well, God decided to give you a good gift today. God decides not randomly, according to our past karmas, according to our present deeds, according to our destiny formed, according to our associations, according to our emotions, thought processes. All these factors come into play to decide upon the final outcome. So when we accept this wholeheartedly, that my job is to perform my duty well, results, whatever God decides, I will accept, you will never experience work-related stress in your life. And the second reality is this, that no hard work, no effort goes in vain. If you put in an effort in this project and you did not get the expected result, the same effort God adjusts in some other project and gives you an easy victory, an easy good result with a less effort. Effort never goes in vain. Because many times I say the world is round and anything that is round doesn't have any corners, so it does not have the place to hide out your efforts. So in one or the other way, you will get the fruits. Efforts never go in vain. Hard work always pays. He's there looking down upon us and noting everything down. So calm yourself, stabilize yourself. Why did this not happen? The answer is, it did not happen for your good. As simple as that. So when you accept this, you will be at peace with yourself. The third thing to manage stress. Third aspect of stress, it comes from unexpected happenings and circumstances and situations in life. For example, your 22-year-old son, after finishing his graduation from a wonderful university, a few days after that, dies because of a car crash. Such things happen with people. If it can happen with people, it can happen with you as well. For example, if your spouse, well, at the age of 35, 40, 45, 50, is detected with a 4th-stage cancer, most unexpected situation, and you slip into stress. For example, suddenly, one fine morning, when you reach at work, your boss says you have to put in your papers. You'll have to resign, or I'll fire you. Your 20 years, 25 years, 28 years of loyal services vanishing in thin air right in front of you. Stress starts because now you're jobless. And if you're jobless for the next 6 months, 8 months, you go into stress. People experience this. Sometimes you want somebody as your life partner and he or she ignores you. It happens. And you start experiencing stress. And when you get the news that he or she has got engaged somewhere else and they are a happy couple, more stress in your life. So what I mean to say, such happenings in life, such situations and circumstances propping up in life can result into stress. And you get bogged down under it, feel the pressure of it, the heat of it. And that has the power to make you slip into depression. Now, what to do in these times? What to do in these times to escape from stress? Only your understanding will work. Your best friends around can give you temporary relief, not a permanent one. Your hobbies with you can give you a temporary relief, not a permanent one. So friends and hobbies and relationships and outings and picnics and tours won't work because the enemy is sitting within. That I've been rejected by the person whom I wanted in my life. I have been thrown out of my services of 28 years by a simple notice. I was not allowed even to express myself. Oh my God, my spouse has been detected with 4-stage cancer. And your eye widely opens up at 3 a.m. midnight and you don't get sleep for the next 3 hours in bed from 3 to 6 in the morning. Happens with people. At that time, only one thing works. Your strong understanding of life. And that understanding is, out of all my reading, after all my association with people, out of all my experiences with talking to people, and of course, more than that, the wonderful wisdom of Pramukh Swami Maharaj, I have designed a simple formula which is called the formula 40-30-20-10. It is applicable and it's a reality in the lives of all 7 billion population upon this earth. The principle of 40-30-20-10. Both in your relationships and at your workplace. Of all the work that you decide to do in your life and all the relationships that you start in your life, 40% will go your way, goody goody. Another 30% of the work that you have decided to do in your life and 30% of the relationships that you have in your life, you will have to pump in a lot amount of energy, extra maintenance, extra costs just to complete it or maintain it. That was never in your calculations. So that comes to 70%. Another 20% of the work that you have decided and started and 20% of the relationships that you have, 20% of the work are bound to bring losses to you. And 20% of the relationships are bound to fail. Accept this. Just to live an emotionally healthy life, a mentally healthy life, thus a physically healthy life. This comes to 90%. Last 10% of the work that you've decided to do in your life has come to bring heavy losses to you that can take a toll on your health as well. And 10% of the relationships that you have started in your life can turn into severe competition or even enmity. जिगर जान मित्र जाने दुश्मन हो जाते हैं. So this is the equation. This is the principle of 40, 30, 20, and 10. A reality with which every existence upon this earth lives. Even a lion, tiger, cheetah, or leopard are not successful in all their chases. Isn't it? Even Virat Kohli, the world's finest batsman today, Every time he doesn't walk back from the trees. Many times he comes back being out first delivery or in the first over that he's facing, or he just scores single digit runs. So it's not always that the luck and the fortune and your talent will always favor you. It's not always that your experience, platforms, and support systems will always carry you. 40, 30, 20, 10 is the principle. So if you lose a relationship, try to rebuild it 3 times, every 2 months, 6 months, that is, give 3 tries to it. And if it doesn't improve, forget it. Delete the number from the mobile. Live your life. Simple. Just wish him well. Wish him or her well. Pray for him or her well. May you be successful in your life. You be in your life. I be in my life. You be fine. I'm fine. Take care of yourself. Fine. Simple. That attitude works. That attitude block stresses that comes out of broken relationships. And if you don't get the person in your life that you wanted, he or she, after a lot of tries, just tell yourself, he or she was not made for me. Now listen very carefully what I tell about this to you. Everything and everyone that you like is not necessarily made for you, okay? Did you get my point? Everyone and everything that you start liking is not necessarily in your destiny. Did God sign an MOU with you when he gave you birth upon this earth? That everything and everyone that you would like will come into your life and will remain in your lifetime? No, God never signed an MOU with you. Stress comes when I like this person, that person should be in my life. What reason, Baisa? He or she is not in your destiny. Forget it. I don't say you don't give a good try to it. Give a good try to it because you like it. You want that person in your life. You want that opportunity in your life. You want that work in your life. You want that profile in your life. Fine, work for it. Put your best resources at play. But when it doesn't happen, don't go into stress. Just tell yourself that it was not made for me. That was made for somebody else. Forget it. The art of forgetting is the art that saves you from stresses. It's the art that saves you from tensions. It's the art that saves you from slipping into depression. This is how you manage stress. It's very important in life. Pramukh Swami Maharaj had this art in his life. So he managed the whole BAPS administration, including the emotions of lakhs of devotees and hundreds of us saints so well that he could always keep himself calm and in the top moods. We always saw him smiling. I'm reminded of an incident of Vallabh Vidyanagar when Pramukh Swami Maharaj was there, maybe in the year of like 90 or 91. And at that time, the Alicon Engineering Company, which is a very renowned one and a big one there in Vidyanagar, its manager, Patel, he was a well-wisher of the organization and was would come to Pramukh Swami Maharaj for his darshan time and again. And on one such occasion, when Pramukh Swami Maharaj was in Vallabh Vidyanagar, Natubai Patel came up to see and have darshan of Pramukh Swami Maharaj and said, Swamiji, I want to ask you a question which is in my mind for many a time. Swamiji said, well, feel free. And Natubai Patel said, Swami, I've seen you doing varied kind of activities in the whole day. I've seen you in your morning walk, also doing your morning puja, you're meeting people, blessing the assembly, talking on phone, sitting in an administrative meeting, and taking up a decision after discussions. And I've seen you in many types of activities during the whole day, but never ever I've seen even any signs of stress, tension, tiredness, boredom, anything on your face, not a single wrinkle of this kind ever. How are you managing so much of load of work with a calm, cool attitude? And then, just like he said that, Swamiji, I'm just the manager of the Alicon Engineering Company, I'm not the owner that I have all the load on my head. But still, let me tell you very frankly that at the end of the day, and before retiring to bed, if you don't have a couple of take-ins, it's difficult for us to survive the next day. Pramukh Swami at that time told Natubai, say Natubai, every morning when we wake up, we pray to Bhagwan Swaminarayan and our Guru, Yogiji Maharaj, and ask of them today's work, today's tasks. And then for the whole day, we try to perform it to the best of our abilities. By evening, we give that work at the feet of our God and Guru with humble prayers that I tried my best. Now, whatever results you want to give, it's up to you. I will fully accept it. And then we are cool and calm. We attend the evening assembly, sing the glory of God, and then have dinner, meet people, and retire. So this is karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, lived practically in life. And so Pramukh Swami Maharaj never experienced trial. He accepted the formula of 40, 30, 20, 10. That all that comes in our mind cannot be fructified. All the projects that come across right in front of you on your table cannot be handled. Somebody wanted to donate a huge, perhaps more than 400-bed hospital to Pramukh Swami Maharaj. He wrote a letter, a very prestigious person. Today he's a big name in India. And a person who still today, maybe at the age of 70, last 40 years into corporate India, he lives a spotless life, a spotless character. Such a prestigious person, he writes to Pramukh Swami Maharaj personally that I erected this 400-bed hospital. And I find that the best organization who could run it administratively for the best benefit of the people, for the good of the people, and ethically is BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha. So this is my humble request that I want to give this hospital, give away this hospital entirely to BAPS, and it is up to you to manage it out. Pramukh Swami said that we accept your feelings, but the geographical place at which it is located would, at this stage, it would be difficult for us to manage the manpower required to run the hospital and a few other difficulties as well. So very politely, very humbly, Pramukh Swami Maharaj wrote him back a letter expressing all gratitude towards him and then saying a humble no. So what I mean to say is that all projects that come on your table are not necessarily that you should pick up and start doing it. Otherwise, you'll experience some stress in your life. If you don't find it okay, you can with folded hands say a humble no. So this 40, 30, 20, 10 is the principle in your life. This is how we can save ourselves from stress. I've just completed my time of talking. I'll just take 2 minutes more to complete my speech today. But the last thing I want to say, if you want to constantly fight against stress, if you want to constantly save yourself from stress, and the third part is like, if you never want to experience stress in your life, attach yourself with God. As Bhagavan Krishna tells in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he tells Arjuna, Anmanabhava, that keep your mind engrossed in me. Start chanting the holy name of God 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes in the evening, 10 minutes before you go to bed. As every 2 hours, 3 hours, you check your WhatsApp. Every 2 or 3 hours, just close your eyes and go into 5 minutes of high speed chanting the holy name like Swaminarayan, 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 or in whichever form of God that you believe in, Bhagwan Krishna, Bhagwan Srina, whatever. Every 2 or 3 hours, just distress yourself by 5 minutes chanting the holy name of God. This is scientifically proved. Because when constantly at work, constantly in atmosphere of stress, hormones like cortisol, hormones like epinephrine get secreted in your blood stream, and because of that, you experience increase of blood pressure, you experience increase of heart rates, you experience rush of adrenaline. And when in the midst of this, you start chanting the holy name of God, and a hormone called endorphin is released in your bloodstream. And that hormone, it overpowers the effects of cortisol and epinephrine. It suppresses cortisol, it suppresses epinephrine, that is stress-creating hormones, and expresses its own value, which brings you calmness, coolness, settledness, stability, and you distress yourself. This has been proved by medical research, by scientists. That chanting the holy name of God can distress you because it secretes certain kind of hormones in your bloodstream. So chanting the holy name has a physical effect on your body, and thus a mental and thus an emotional effect on your life. So when you chant the holy name of God, get yourself in association with God, with mandirs, with scriptures, with saints. It plays a very important, rather a vital role in your life in managing stresses that come out of emotions, that come out of work, that come out of relationships, that come out of maybe some forced unethical practice at your workplace. So this is how you can manage stress well. Thank you very much for patiently listening to me. My all prayers for all of you. I pray at the feet of Bhagavan Swaminarayan, my Guru Hari Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and my Guru Hari Parapuja Mahan Swami Maharaj, to bless us all so that we imbibe this strong thought processes, such strong emotions in our life, and such strong adherence and attachment to God and spirituality that we can live a wonderful, light, emotionally great, mentally high, and a wonderful life. And we can, at the end of our life, put our hand on our chest and tell ourselves, yes, I lived my life. Thank you very much, and prayers for all of you.
Thank you, Jai Swaminarayan. The Swamiji lecture was interesting and inspire, I think, everyone. Just I brief to what about you said. Uh, Initially, he said that light on two qualities, being proactive and ethics, which differentiate the able the leader from smart managers. He said that able leaders are proactive in adverse situation and with confidence take the situation in their stride. He also said that ethics play a very crucial role in every phase of life. If someone play with ethics, in the long run, ethics will definitely play with the person. He gave various examples for big tycoon like Rajat Gupta and Raja Ratnam, whose business tumbled down due to the lack of ethics. Their 30-40 years of hard work was washed by their own unethical decision. At the end, the Swamiji said that work hard with honestly and continuous work for the society without the expectations of receiving anything in returns. He also said about how to remove the stress uh, due to some forgetting. Do not think bad for others. Uh, I think indeed that talk was very enjoyable by all the presents here. So look forward for many more interactive section by Swami Gyanvatsal Swamiji. Jai Swaminarayan. Thank you.